Hi, my name is Chucky Jesus, and this is my first video. You may have seen my comments on videos before, but now I am dipping my toes in the water of making my own videos. Just a little about myself. I'm an old fart, one of those baby boomers, probably old enough to be your dad, but not your granddad. I was raised as a Presbyterian in the South, but I had periods of skepticism even from my childhood. I vexed the Sunday school teachers with annoying questions, which showed I was thinking for myself from an early age. I also read books on science, and while my church did not teach the literal acceptance of Genesis, I realized then that the scientific account of our origins made so much more sense. Nevertheless, I came to rationalize Christianity, making the argument from popularity to myself. As I made my way through my teen years, I became exposed to other denominations, and also became more aware of other religions. I began to realize that not all of the religions could be right. Maybe none of them were right. The straw which broke the camel's back was, when I was 16. I worked at a fast food place, where the manager was a Pentecostal. He preached at me endlessly. By the way, I think this sort of thing should be just as illegal as sexual harassment, but I digress. He desperately wanted me to talk in tongues, and after work one night, I gave it a whirl. Ha ha, in hindsight, it was really comical. I'm there, on my knees just making up nonsense syllables. Anyway, the whole thing just made me realize how silly it all was. I decided I was an agnostic, and kept that label for 2 more years. Finally, when I got to college and learned more about history, and how myths and religions came and went in history, then I came to decide I was an atheist. Back then, I thought an atheist was someone who said there was no God. I later learned from Madeline Murray O'Hare that you can't make that claim, because you can't make a negative claim, that an atheist was really just someone who lacked a belief in a deity. After a couple of years of college, I saw that there were religious groups on campus, such as the Baptist Student Union, but that there was no group for someone with my beliefs. Mind you, my town was considered a buckle of the Bible Belt, and even in the 1970s, after the societal changes of the 60s, atheism was still rare, or at least coming out as an atheist was rare. I tend to think big, or at least in those days I did, and so I decided to bring the most well-known atheist to my campus to speak. Madeline Murray O'Hare. If you're not familiar with her, she's the one, along with another party named Shemp, who took the issue of school prayer and Bible readings to the Supreme Court of the United States, where a ruling made it illegal to have Bible readings and prayer led by teachers or administrators in a public school, because it violated the separation of church and state. Long story short, I got to know Madeline and her family well, and worked with her to bring the first ever local chapter of American Atheists to my town. Well, thanks for listening to my story of my early years as an atheist. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.